Hello everyone, welcome to a World of Warships Blitz video. Today's video is a bit of something different. We're going to have a look at the state of the account. It's been, well, I've been logging in daily, but mainly just to pick up the missions so that I keep my my boosters going, and it's taken only mere seconds every day to keep up with everything. So there's a couple of things we'll talk about today. One is the state of the account and where it's going and what's happened and, you know, how I've fallen behind. And the other thing is for those new players where I'd say to spend your money if you decide to spend money on the game. And the reason that I'm going there is that I'm actually playing some Raid Shadow Legends, which is much better at trying to find ways to angle in for your money by having much smaller things that you can buy than World of Warships Blitz. So things that would cost a third of a cup of coffee, for example. Anyway, here we go. So state of the account. So the state of the account is falling behind. So for those of you that may know me and watch my games, I am probably a tier 6 to tier 8 player mostly. I have a couple of tier 10s. You can see that I've jumped past the Jutland there. To the Daring. I have the Neptune, and I'm sort of about of a third to, but a half? Nah, not really. Potentially getting close to halfway towards the Minotaur. The Lion, I've given a couple of games in, but mostly, interestingly enough, tier 8 is where I top out. There's Moines, the Seattle, which I haven't bought, but you can see pretty hard wool there at tier 8. There's a couple of tier 9s that I've poked into, or a couple of things that I've got to the end of tier 9, but I've never really stepped over. And part of the reason that is that, I think we've seen that one, part of the reason is that tier 9 seems to be the game that no one wants to play. So people who are in tier 8 like the variety and are there because they want to be. Often enough, people who are tier 10 obviously like it because they've achieved 10-10. People in tier 9 are on their way to tier 10. So basically, yeah, tier 9 just seems to be that lost tier. Also, when I've been playing, it's probably changed a bit recently with a lot more premiums coming out. There just wasn't the variety above tier 8. So hence, yeah, the pretty hard wall at tier 8. Although Russian battleships is a new line out, and as you can see, I've got to tier 7, and I think I'll be at tier 7 for a long time because I'm not really super excited about the Russian battleships. Same with the British cruisers, tier 6. Tier 7, I'm not enjoying the British cruisers. They just don't seem to have the toys. Yeah, don't really seem to suit my game style. Italians, tier 8, although when battleships come along, I'm assuming battleships will come along. I think I've actually got the tier 9 here. That will obviously change things. What I am looking forward to, and I'll probably grind pretty efficiently when I get it, would be if the French destroyers ever make it into the game. That's probably the next big thing that I'm waiting for. I think Italian destroyers are pretty much equivalent to French destroyers from what I know of Italian naval history, which is very little, apart from the fact that I think that they were relatively similar to French destroyers. Obviously, the new pan-European destroyers have come along, but they don't really excite me either. So, Russian battleships, British heavy cruisers, which I thought would be more exciting, but really just seem to struggle in the game enough that it's a little bit hard, and Pan-Asian destroyers aren't really where I'm sort of heading. So what it means is I'm fairly tapped out. So where are we at? We have a number of these blueprints. I should probably go and run the videos for a few more, but you know, another time. Obviously my league rankings from being away have tanked right off, and I no longer have any of the camos. The ever-present sort of red alert or whatever it was camo that just seemed to go on and on has finally run its course. Now, the way that I run my account is because I like to do videos, I like to have ships on tap. So what I'll do is I'll generally sell tier 5s, but I'll keep tier 6s because tier 5s, you know, the cost of a tier 5, let's go for the Augusta, Here, 276. Well, that's a little bit when you're not playing, but when you're playing enough, then, you know, that sort of cost. A couple of videos, flog it off. It's not too much hurt, really. But at tier 6, it starts to bite a little bit, and I actually enjoy playing them at tier 6 as well. Sheer variety and a lot of events like Blitz Royale appear at tier 6. Right, what else have we got? State of Blueprints. I think that's probably worth looking at as well, which I'll have to do up here. So what have we got in my warehouse? Quite a lot of boosters. I'm really knocking them back. Particularly these high Super XP boosters are getting a real hammering as I work through grinding various lines. It really help out. Supplies. As you can see, wow, I've got a few of these. I don't know how that's happened. Normally I'd be running along the dregs. And as you can see, all the supply packs that I've got lots of are not the ones that I use. Blueprints. Blueprints is where, at one point I was trying to get to tier 8, the ships to tier 8, so that I could flog off the remaining blueprints. Now, I've got a few blueprints here, but I am going to start to struggle if I try and get a lot of lines to tier 8, which I initially found that the blueprints were the real choke point. But yeah, when I was playing fairly regularly, blueprints not an issue. Had a surplus of them. I've really sold some of these blueprints down, by the way, and I normally sell the aircraft blueprints off completely. But yeah, we seem to have collected a few. But I normally sell, I think I've probably sold a couple of hundred of some of these blueprints. Good source of cash if you need it. As far as silver is concerned, you can see I've got 43,000 silver at the top. 192,000 free XP, down from about 800,000 when I was waiting the British battleships. My copper and iron are in steel are in fairly good supply. I have some of these flowers that I better use at some point, and a tiny amount of titanium. Where the account's probably most significant is in the camos, because I do like my camos. Right, and one camo I've got is for the ship not owned. I got it out of an event. But I'm not really interested in the black ships. I have the Amagi, I don't need the black Amagi. I have the Bayern, I don't need the black Bayern. I like having the ships. I don't need to have the twins or the evil twin, however you want to describe it, of the ships. I've never really chased them. Anyway, right, where to spend your money. If you're playing the game, if you're deciding where to spend your money. So if you're starting out, I'd recommend that you don't spend any money, probably up until about tier 5. Okay, so by then you'll have worked out whether or not you like playing the game. Probably the tier 5 to go for if you are starting out is something like the Königsberg. Not that's never going to find anything useful in there. It's probably something like this German cruiser line. The Dresden and the Kolberg are actually not too bad. The Karlsruhe can be a little bit of a pain. It has torpedoes. It doesn't mean you have to use them. It's probably a lesson for Karlsruhe. Stay at the back, use your guns at long range, and then when you get to Königsberg, you'll have quite a good time. The other recommended ship line that I would recommend is the British line, the Weymouth, of course. Well, it's tier 2 cruiser. Good luck with that. You know, only half a dozen games, and you're probably clear of it. The Bellerophon's not too bad. The Orion is probably, compared to its compatriots, so within its tier, is probably the best battleship in the game, from my opinion. The Orion is a fantastic ship. The Iron Duke's a fantastic ship. The Queen Elizabeth isn't the Warspite, but it's pretty close, which makes it a pretty good ship. King George V, yeah, sorry about that. Yeah, okay. So not all lines seem to have a problem at some point. The American lines are solid. Get a couple of lines tier 5 if you can before you spend money. Maybe I would recommend at least getting into a Japanese torpedo boat so you know what it's like for the captain of the torpedo boat. So I did not really understand how to play torpedo boats, and probably there's a couple of things that really improved my torpedo evasion technique. Number one was watching the video by Yearboy on how to dodge torpedoes like a boss, definitely. And the second one was having a mission to get 225 torpedo hits, which meant that I took that Minakaze, which I've now sold out again and again and again and again, and I'll tell you what, I soon learned how torpedoes work. So I'd recommend getting a torpedo boat, even if it's not your thing, so you can understand what it's like. I'll just get rid of all these invites, right? Okay, so where to spend your money? If you are playing the game early on, not there. Not there. Not there. There, right. It's probably in here. So I have purchased the premium, the monthly subscription, and I just gained a truckload of free XP. Ships advanced really quickly, just that little bit extra, and I only really purchased it because it was the most efficient way to get gold. So if you are starting out, maybe the weekly one, give it a real bash. Make sure that you do it in a week when you can play a bit, smash it out, and just what you'll find is it'll really advance your progress. I'd smash out a number of lines, but really, apart from this, if you're trying to really rake up through your lines, or you're an intermediate player and you're wanting to get a bit more variety into the game, get yourself a monthly subscription, smash out some lines, right? So that's probably the first place I would spend money. The second place I would spend money is in gold, and I would look for bundles. I haven't gone for gold. I have always gone for the bundles. This is something that I've purchased in the past. 2,900, nearly 3,000 gold with a couple of keys. So the equivalent of 3,000 gold is basically here, but you get a couple of keys for the same price. So essentially, or maybe $1 more. There is actually a really good bundle that comes out every now and again. It's very rare, I've seen it, but I purchased it pretty much religiously, which was something crazy like, I think it was maybe 5,000 or 6,000 gold for a really, really low price. It was a special, it was a very occasional one. The reason that I purchased it was to get gold, and gold bought me two things. One, it bought me all these slots. A lot of these slots have also been, I think most of them have been through gold, to be fair. There's been one or two through events, but I never sell a premium ship if I get a premium ship, by the way. So it's not like I'm getting slots from premium ships. But mostly I've used the gold on judiciously to keep myself so that I don't have to sell off tier 6s. So usually I'll spend the 1,000 gold to get the 5 rather than the individual. You see, look at this. This is like my press account. It's just ships and ships and ships and ships. So I've got no available slots. So 1,000 for an extra 5. 250 for one. Definitely go for the 5. I don't know if there was a special on slots at one point. But the other thing I use gold for mostly, let me just go and find it. Let me just go find something. Here we go, the Perth, a good example. The other place I'll use gold, and let's just filter on destroyers and cruisers, not that, Pan Asian, British, and yeah, okay, let's bring back the Perth, is here. Historical camos. They really add a bit of flavour to the game. I really enjoy my historical camos. So I do purchase historical camos, and I have them for the ships that I really, really, really enjoy. A lot of my premium ships, lovely, lovely historical camos. Yeah, I don't really enjoy that ship. And for the historical camos, they really provide some benefits that you can't get anywhere else. Let's go have a look. This ship here really benefits from the historical camo because its torpedoes are slightly larger than its detection range. And if you get the historical camo for this ship, let's just go pop it up, you'll see that it actually provides the best surface detection improvement. So it's actually a very capable, very stealthy ship with 5.1 kilometer detection range, and the extra battery firing range and the extra torpedo range makes it into a bit of a stealth torpedo. It really makes a huge difference to the ship. Some ships like the Belfast just make it look nice and not a major difference, not game changing. But even for these sorts of ships, if you can't afford the historical camo, things like the Seaborne Assault go a long way. -3% surface detection rather than -4%. So interestingly for the game, the only way you can get these top end benefits like this +4 range for some 4% range for like the Warspite, or minus 4%, or plus minus 4% surface detection for things like the Unshun is through the historical camo. After that, if you enjoy the game enough, then you're on your own. You can buy whatever you want. I have purchased ships, often through gold. So the Prince Eugen, which I have somewhere, was just on special, and I grabbed it for gold. So the Prince Eugen I purchased for gold, and there's been one or two purchases for cash, which are mainly in the French area. So Le Terrible, I grabbed that. I think I might have paid full whack for it too, because I love that ship. And the Richelieu had a massive special on it. So yeah, so if you're going to spend money, you can. I don't spend anything above tier 8 because it just seems to get a little bit too pricey, and I do enjoy my games at tier 8. So yeah, so that's just me. But if you've got a tier 10 and you really love it, historical camo will really hurt, about 6,000 gold, but it'll make quite a difference to your game. Or it'll take an edge off that between you and your competitors who are using historical camo. Let's put it that way. So, but mainly it's the visuals. Love it with the Bismarck, love it with the Tirpitz. Makes the ships look very, very much like the Prince Eugen and the Bismarck. You know, they're a set that went out. Obviously not very successful North Atlantic mission, but still, you know, we've got the paint scheme for those sets. So yeah, there's quite a lot of historical camo in my kit. I've really enjoyed it. So but anyway, there you go. That's the state of the account. Probably one other thing to look at, just to compare it with ships, is to go and have a look at the press account. So I don't think I've shown anybody the press account. The press account is something that I use when testing out new ships. Obviously, it hasn't been getting a lot of work, so yeah. But anyway, so we've got some new ships. I think that's the Florida. I haven't really looked into it. Now, if you thought my account had a lot of ships, this is just nuts. This will just go. We're not even out of the American ships yet. Right. I don't even know. Yeah. So I've got a filter on. So if we remove all the filters, clear the filters, yeah, we'll find that the ships just go on forever. I have no idea. Have I got more filters going there? Oh, I don't know. Maybe those are all pinned. But yeah, there's obviously the press account is a completely different kettle of fish, because it's a way to provide a view of videos. Now, one interesting thing about the press account, if I'm going to play for fun, I will play. Oh, hello, new ship. What's this? Oh, it's the Moynihan. Right. If I am going to play for fun, I'll always play on my own account. I'll never play on the press account, and that's just because I get the satisfaction of grinding ships. I don't get a very big sense of satisfaction of grinding ships on the press account. In fact, I'm going to have to say that sometimes doing reviews on the press account of a new ship can feel more like work than fun, because I know that I'm not contributing to my own progress, whereas in my own account, it's more like fun. So yeah, it's something interesting to yeah, an interesting thing that I hadn't expected when I got the press account. I thought it'd be great to play all those ships, but actually I'll only play them if there's a really good reason to, or if a new one comes out and I'm doing a review on it. There you go. That was much longer than I expected, but I hope you found it interesting. Yeah, I am looking forward, hopefully at some point, to French destroyers coming out, or maybe Italian destroyers. Maybe I'll give Italian battleships a try, because I do like those lines that tend to have a bit of historical ships in them. And some of the lines at the moment feel a little bit project or paper ship based. Well, actually, no, the Swedish, the Pan-European line isn't, but it's not really a major power either. Anyway, thanks for watching. Catch you next time. And thanks for, yeah, please do subscribe and like this video if you enjoyed the content.